Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. It's very interesting how the United States government can move so quickly in certain situations, but so slowly in others. It's so fast to condemn another country that it doesn't like, or it doesn't follow orders, or is not in control of the United States of America. It's so easy to see how quickly they're going to implement a policy against the specific country. But in case of other countries, it's a lot of warning, a lot of talk, and nothing done. You can see in the current events in the Middle East, this applied. And I'm going to be focused on this one right here. We know that we like diversity, and we consider each country's culture and values no inferior or superior than others. We know that. You can't say this nation's culture is better than this nation's culture or traditions. They're all equal, it's equal. That's what it is. You have to use this cultural relativism. Okay, which is relative to whatever they are, how they do. You can't use your values your values at your level in order to analyze their value and culture, and vice versa. Therefore, we're all equal. That's garbage. But anyway, we have to say it. Now, what's going on here? This is personal right now. Very much personal, because I use these friends of mine since the beginning of my channel. And I have a soft spot for them. I will not go deeper than that. It's not because I have a wife or something, or a boyfriend or something like that. Here it is. Reuters: U.S. restricts visa for Uganda and Zimbabwe officials, citing repression. Can you guess what kind of repression, if you know anything about the two countries, what kind of repression the United States is thinking of or claiming? It's a cultural preference. A cultural preference that these countries decide that they have laws against certain things. For instance, you know that in different countries, the age of consent is different, correct? United States is this, I think it's from state to state. I don't even know if it's a federal age of consent, sexual consent. So as a minor at 16, in certain states, you can give your consent and so on, under certain circumstances and so on, voluntary. Other have at 15. Other countries, others have at 18 only. Now, is that a value that the United States should restrict visas for? Because we consider 16, let's say, and let's say the Brits consider it 15. I'm just giving an example. Or let's say India considers it 13. That's a value that those guys decided. And actually, that's a human right? It's child is defined, until the age of 18. We all agree to that, correct? So how come we vary on that? Is the Indian brain more developed or the British brain more developed at 15 or 13 than the American to make decision in who is going to... Why I'm saying this is because Uganda and Zimbabwe made some laws to their elected officials that about LGBTQMNPQCKPKFKMOKOLOKO. And that is something that our culture considers a given, but their culture criminalizes. So that is oppression. So the United States of America restricts the officials in charge of their countries. Because why? Anyway, U.S. restricts visas for Uganda, and Zimbabwe, my soft spot. The United States on Monday expanded a visa restriction policy on Ugandan officials to include those it believes are responsible for undermining democracy. Really? I never heard these guys implementing any visa against Saudi Arabia. I mean, we know Saudi Arabia is not a democracy, is it? Uses democracy by any means? Yeah? Or let's say Ukraine. We know Ukraine is, and I give Ukraine as a low-hanging fruit. But I give you Saudi Arabia and many other countries. How many other countries, United States did not impose any restrictions undermining democracy? But still here, it's not about that. It's about the next paragraph, okay? It's not the first paragraph. It's the second one. But they try to hide or cover their tail, cover their marks or whatever. Here it is, to include those it believes are responsible for undermining democracy and repressing marginalized groups in Uganda. Now, while also announcing a new visa restriction policy for officials in Zimbabwe. Boo! U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced the visa restrictions and mentioned, among others, so those I don't give a damn about those. I'm going to tell you about, in the Second World War, the Holocaust, you know exactly how many Jews died, but the others, who were the others, because there were other people who were systematically killed by the Nazis as well. In the same way. How many? Do you know? Do you remember? They were homosexuals. They were physically and mentally disabled, handicapped. They were political prisoners, communists. These guys, not prisoners. Yeah, they were prisoners, but they were considered illegal. They were, adversaries, enemies. All these guys were the same. Do you know how many gypsies were killed? How many disabled? No, only one. Say, if you're the German Holocaust is Jews and the rest. The same here. Others, among others, the marginalization of groups like LGBT community in Uganda and civil society advocates in Zimbabwe. Blinken's statements did not name any official. Okay, and now they go straight to the point. Uganda anti-LGBTQ law, considered one of the harshest in the world, was enacted in May and carries the death penalty for aggravated homosexuality, an offense that includes transmitting HIV through gay sex. Is that my house? I don't want anybody to be killed for that, that's for sure. But hey, is that my country? Is that my nation? I mean, I listened to the Uganda's president a few times, to say the least. So he was challenged by many, many weasels from here. And they couldn't do anything to this guy. First, he's black, African, so they have to use some kind of gloves to a certain extent. The other one is just, the guy said, no, this is us, and this is what God said. This is what we say. This is our culture. Why do you impose your cultural, how do they call it, cultural colonialism on us? And then we put you down, and you're a weasel and say, oh no, that's what it is. Why do you impose your values on us? We have our own traditions. Human rights. Okay, for us, that's not a human right. That's what he said. Now, what are you going to do about it? You're going to smack them. Why? You want to change their culture according to your culture. Now, it's the same thing as, let's say, these guys wear burqas. Some Islamic women wear burqas in certain Islamic societies. In others, they don't, as far as I remember. Right? So they wear it. Does that mean that the United States has to wear burqas? Well, we don't kill them for... they kill them over there. If a woman over there doesn't wear the burqa right, she gets this and that. I mean, if I remember correctly, our friends until Mohammed bin Salman, Saudi Arabia used to what? Not be very nice with the same group. I never heard any sanction on them. Why is that? So you see, this is inconsistent. A value is across the board. It's not, preferential. I like you, I close an eye. I don't like you, I will queue up. Obviously, I don't think whatsoever that someone should be penalized for that, for consensual like that. I don't care. You can do whatever. You can do it in groups, how many you want. If you are consenting adults, I don't even care if you are, you have to be adults, that's for sure. Consensual adults can do whomever with whatever. All right, I don't care. But don't touch anything else. But then, from saying you can do whatever you want until you have to applaud that, it's a long stretch. I disagree with that stretch. So again, you can do it, whatever, man. I'm all for it. Be kinky, do whatever you want. But don't expect me to applaud you and celebrate your sexual thing. I mean, what the hell? That defines you? Because I hear these people saying, well, I identify as, and the first thing they say, I like to, another. That's what defines you? Excuse me. Jesus Christ. I mean, I would say that, I wrote 15 books on, in genetics. Oh, well, that's good. Well, I like poetry. I wrote a few books on Friedrich Nietzsche's philosophy. Oh my God, good, very nice. I invented this. That should be something that represents you, not who you like to bang. That's what represents you. Low, very fucking low. But somehow that is I identify as. Who gives a fuck? I don't give a fuck what you identify as. Don't ask me to see you as what the hell you identify as, a lamp. You can identify as a lamp as much as you want. Oh my God. But don't make me anyway. So these guys imposed on my Zimbabwean friends certain visa restrictions or whatever they did because they want them to change their culture, their view, their traditions. And that's not right. That's not right whatsoever. Obviously, it's not right to punish them with death or any punishment. But again, that's their culture, that's their country. They have the right to do whatever they want. And we should not have anything to say what they do in their house, in their bedroom. Right? Because their house is their house. We stick our nose everywhere. And if someone points anything at us, like for instance, our inconsistency and double standard, everything ends up at this. Are you strong? No. Shut the fuck up. I am. This always reminds me of Joseph Stalin, the Georgian communist dictator criminal. When he met that idiot, I would say war criminal, Harry Truman, dropped 2 atomic bombs on 2 civilian cities. That's a war crime, however you want to turn it, all right? When they were in Potsdam, in Potsdam? I think in Potsdam they were. And I know that, they carved the world. Supposedly, Adolf wanted to take over the world for himself. And after he was defeated, 2 of them took over. So what's the difference? And one of them were communists and the other one were these guys who committed another crime. The crime is this: they allowed countries to be raped by the communists. Now that is like a parent. Let's say you're a parent and you have a child, and the child goes to babysit at someone's house, and you know that someone over there is how should I put it, on the sex offender registry. You know what that is, right? So let's say he's one of those guys. Will you send your child over there? If you send it, you are guilty of abuse, my friends. Neglect. Right there. But United States gave half of Europe, half of the countries of Europe, free countries, to Soviet Union criminals. Now, what made the United States and Great Britain at that point? They cooperated, accomplices, and they divided the world as the other guy wanted to have it for himself. Now these 2 guys have it for themselves. One, the communist bad, and the other guys who said, yeah, you can have these guys and how much you want. So don't tell me about the United States and blah, blah, blah. Anybody can do anything? Okay, and let's go to Potsdam. In Potsdam, Harry Truman and Stalin, Harry Truman told Stalin, hey, Uncle Joe, he didn't call Uncle Joe, it was Roosevelt, Delano Roosevelt, who called criminal Stalin Uncle Joe. Man. Anyway, hey, Joseph, whatever. Harry Truman, I think, wrote in his memoirs that he thought he had a good, he made a good impression on Stalin. Stalin, in private, was saying that Harry Truman was worthless. Just so you know how perception. So Harry Truman said, I think I impressed Stalin. Yeah. And Stalin, that guy is worthless. With a pipe. All right. So he said, hey, Joseph, the Pope has some concerns with the Polish Catholic population in Poland. Can you cut them some slack, don't be too hard on them? And what did Stalin say? I said this on a few videos. He said, how many tank divisions does the Pope have in, or has, in Poland? And Truman was like, he realized that Stalin was talking only through the lenses of power. Why is the Pope talking? We don't even look at him. He has no power. Why should I talk about? Why should I take him into consideration? The same here. That's the exact way the United States takes the whole world. Are you strong? I let you go, or I go and I use those weasels. I don't attack you. See, the United States doesn't attack front, face to face. China, Russia, a country that can smack them back real bad. No. They use other means, and they attack with a coalition little guys that tells you how much courage they have. And they're based again on power. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. So shut the fuck up and go back in line. And when you're going to be able to come and make me unzip my pants for you, then you come back and I'll see if I take you. That's how. Until then, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm going to hurt you. Enough. Zimbabwe, sorry, but this is Al Capone. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.